Cozy fantasy is a subgenre that has really exploded over the past, couple years here. So what do you think it is about cozy fantasy as a genre that is calling to readers and writers, and how do you think that reflects on the modern world that we all find ourselves in?
I think often the fiction that we read is an inverse reflection of the state of the world around us. And it's really no surprise that cozy fantasy is a subgenre. In the way that we're using the label today, it took off during COVID when the world around us was frightening and dark and stressful and claustrophobic, and we were all pent up and like trying to get vaccines and wearing masks. And I think I myself am actually a pretty strong data point that is illustrative of that larger trend and why cozy fantasy has emerged. Because I wrote my cozy fantasy, The Teller of Small Fortunes, when I needed comfort and warmth and escapism. And so that was when I really wanted to be reading these things that were magical and fantastical, because that to me is escapist. I wanted to get out of this modern world and never think about anything to do with COVID and the state of the economy and all these other things. And I wanted to think instead about things that were magical and kind of outlandish and in a different world. But I also want to be reminded of the inherent humanity, despite it being in this fantastical background. I wanted characters that I could care about, that I could root for, that I knew would have a happy ending. In terms of what cozy fantasy appeals to, I think it really is this kind of adult need for a retreat to almost the fairy tale. I almost like to describe the cozy fantasy as being fairy tales for adults. There's not really cozy fantasy for an MG or young adult audience, because I think for younger readers, what they're craving is adventure and agency and feeling like they can do something that will change the world and save the world. Whereas adults, we've got taxes and mortgages and sick parents. And what we would love is to go back to a world where, things are simpler and better and kinder, but still feel real and true to us.